Welcome to Vishwashanti Darshan Channel. This show is Vishwa Samvad. The conceptualization and vision of this channel is by revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karar. In today's show, we are meeting a great space scientist, Padma Shri, Dr. A.S Kiran Kumar ji, who was also heading India's space research organization ISRO as a chairman during 2015 to 18. He is credited with the development of key scientific instruments aboard the Chandrayaan-1 and Mangalyaan spacecrafts. Dr. Kiran Kumar was here to deliver his keynote address at 10th World Parliament of Science, Spirituality, Religion and Philosophy held at world's largest Philosopher Saint Shri Dnyaneshwara World Peace Dome at Vishwa Rajbagh, Pune. Union of science and religion, spirituality alone will bring harmony and peace to mankind. These words of wisdom were spoken by great noble son of India, Swami Vivekananda. Revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karar sir thinks that these words of wisdom are true life-guiding spirit for the present-day world. Let's hear importance of science and spirituality by Dr. Kiran Kumar ji. He is talking about how from ancient times humankind sense the things around and try to mimic it.
The key things that what we are looking at is the world has been moving from the early times of human being trying to actually mimic nature and build his capabilities which go beyond what was originally available to him. In a simple sense, if you were to tell, human eyes can, for example, see only between 400 to 700 nanometers, a very limited range of electromagnetic radiation. But today you see how many technologies are available which enables the individual to see what is happening in the universe beyond that. For example, an infrared camera shows you in the infrared region. X-ray shows you what is happening. That means in many ways the human ability to observe using his sensors are being expanded relentlessly. Similarly, if you look at physical activity, starting from simply originally trying to negotiate with stronger animals for his survival, he built simple tools of stone, sharpening it, fighting with them. Today he can fly, go beyond the planet Earth, etc. Similarly, he has built machines which can do tens of thousands of people at one time. He has built gadgets which can perform his intellectual capability far more than what is done, whether you talk of artificial intelligence, etc. etc. In all this, what you are seeing is, it is a human desire to mimic what is seen in nature and then build a capability to explore the universe beyond what he was doing originally. So this exploration is constantly going on. Things is, I can bring in the explanation of a simple robotic system and say, what is a robot after all? A robot is a system which has got some sensors, some actuators, a control system, some instructions we have stored in the memory of that robot, using which the control will perform the functions you have defined. I should make the system realize what is its limit. So now you write another set of instructions which will make the robotic system realize what are the limits of its function, and then using that we talk of it as fail-safe. So the system stops doing that activity because it realizes it is beyond its capacity.
So in a way we can control robots, but how to control human beings?
Come to that.
Yeah. With all the senses. And
you have 5 sensors, Pancha Gnanendriya.
Yeah.
That means you have sensors.
Right.
Now, how do you do any work?
With the help
Suppose
of
you
all
get
these,
legs,
things,
hands,
whatever we have.
and then you are speaking.
Yeah.
You are also supposed to be having 5 karmendriyas. So you have actuators, you have sensor. And I'm sure you will also realize there is something like a controller which is operating you. So that means, can we say your controller has mimicked what was happening around, and through the process of learning, it created a set of instructions using which it is performing. But there is also a lot of activity which is going on within you, like fail-safe and all that. How are those instructions given to you as a system? Can you think of something for that? Obviously, when you entered the world, that must have been there with you, genetic memory or whatever you call. That means your controller probably makes use of that memory to take care of you, run you on all the whole thing. So that means now you have identified the 5 elements. So as a robotic system, now if you start thinking, see, suppose you have designed a robot, whatever features you have built in that robot is the basis on which it works. But if it encounters a situation which is outside the limit of your design, what will happen to the robot? See, our task is what? Put a robot in Mars, Moon. We build all that, take the help of rocket, send it there, put it there. But if it destroys itself, perishes because of a condition, our task is to rebuild the whole thing and make it happen. So what we start thinking, how can I build some feature in that robot so that it can learn on its own? Can it do self-learning? What is the trigger for that? Like earlier I said, when you entered the world, your controller tried to make sense out of what is happening around, built that mechanism within. If those design features were not there, would it have done? That means those design features are built in. So now we are trying to build it in this. We are trying to build in artificial intelligence, everything you can take.
How can we relate our senses, our genetic memory to develop ourselves? Does education or value-based education specifically enriches our senses? Revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karad sir feels the need of inculcating value-based education in our education system and has already started implementing it with his great vision. Dr. Kiran Kumar has also expressed his views that value-based education acts as surrounding sense to add to our basic senses or senses. Here is what Dr. Kiran Kumar says.
Basically the point is, human being has all these basic elements. Don't you think the primary purpose of education should be to make you aware of this, how you can use it for your own benefit, how you can take advantage of these abilities. You also would have heard, what you are seeing is not reality, but what you are perceiving is on the basis of your intelligence making sense out of that. It is forming its own rules of interpretation. So based on that rules, it lives its rest of the life. That is why some people, given the same environment, they come to different conclusions. You have seen psychologists showing you a picture. What you interpret from that picture is very different from what I interpret. Now think about it in the context of what I am telling. Your intelligence tried to formulate its own rules of engaging with what it saw, heard. Why do you call something a paper, something a table, anything? Because you have been drilled that this is a table, this is this. Otherwise, suppose you were put in a totally different environment where this, instead of being called a table, something else, you would have done that. That means now you see the bias that happens. That means the way you are learning can also build in huge amount of biases in your system. Then the reality is, we all know as teachers, knowing is not sufficient. Translating knowing to make it happen is where technology, dedication, focused effort is needed.
India has rich culture and a legacy of saints, philosophers, thinkers, spiritual leaders. Practice of yoga, meditation develops humans beyond our senses. Knowledge of such practices is the true knowledge which was inherited by yogis, which we follow now, which our new generation of students should follow, which we at MIT Group of Institutions follow under the spiritual leadership and vision of revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karad sir. Let's see what a space scientist Dr. Kiran Kumar says about this. Along with all these original senses, we can say that we can inculcate values.
This, and here also if you see, I was saying, how are the inputs coming to you? 5 sensors. But today what science and technology has already shown, are you in a position to take inputs beyond these 5 sensors? Are all these saints, people who have developed within themselves the mechanism that is available with a rigorous, focused, dedicated effort. Efforts may sometimes require lives together, but simply as a thought process, you can see that yoga could be a process by which you can communicate with outside you beyond the five senses. So all these great saints, etc., are evolved individuals who have developed that capability, and because it's not a common thing, you put them on a higher pedestal. But otherwise, everybody, in principle, it may be possible to do. It is like a robot which is designed, has a switch inside. If you don't know how to operate that switch, it will not use it.
So all these sense they understood the truth and how
So
to
when you are
actually,
exploring inside, maybe all this was available for understanding.
Correct. And all these innovations happened in the last century or 100 and 120 years. Before that also, as you said, our
That means-
ancient tradition was very
That
different.
means if you want to explore outside and mimic what it takes versus explore inward and find out.
All the senses and plus maybe sometimes autopilot mode and actually developing our senses through the spirituality
No,
and
that's
relating
now
all this.
spirituality itself. What does it mean? See, when I say you are a pilot running this as an autopilot mode, at any given instant of time, what all you have learnt, experienced, is the basis on which your activity is happening today. See, if you encounter suddenly a new scenario, how would you react if I ask as a robotic system? You think about how you would do.
Right.
The way to explain would be whatever features that are present, it tries to see. For example, the way I give explanation is like this: your sensors gave the input of the situation. Your controller did a AI ML search in the memory of your life experience. In a fraction of a second, it did a match. What was the closest to that event in your past? It prompted you. Because you know your capability and the scenario, you found a solution for that problem and went ahead. So that's how you will react. That means if in your life experience there is a situation similar, it may prompt you. But if it is not there, what will it do?
That's true.
That's the question.
So we gathered a lot of information from the scientists like Honorable Dr. Kiran Kumar. Thanks for your words, sir, and thanks for talking with us.
Thank you.